Dear student, welcome back to my tutorial. For this tutorial, we are going to discuss about the roots and the controller. If you still remember, last time when we discussed about the MVC model, so the model should look something like what we have in this figure. First of all, the user will use the browser, where the browser will send the URL to the router. Once the router get the URL, the router will contact or get the specific controller to run that particular instruction. If the instruction required any database connection, the controller will try to execute any methods inside the model. The model will look at that particular request and it will send that request in terms of SQL statement to get records from the database. Once the record has been collected by the model, so the record will be sent back to that particular model. And of course, the model will send it back to the controller so that the controller can collect that particular record. For the sake of display, the controller need to contact the view model. Inside the view, there will be elements such as HTML, or there will be elements such as CSS and also JavaScript. The usage of all these elements is to help the controller to display the required record that have been collected by the model. So all information about the view element will be sent back to the controller. The controller will collect the record and it will arrange the type of display using the view element, and all of this will be sent to the browser again. Inside the browser, all those records that have been requested by the user will be displayed back to the user. As you all know, that root is the first component that will be accessed by the browser in the MVC model. So today I'm going to show you how to use root in the CodeIgniter framework. Hopefully you can get along with me. Before we go further, I want you to open the htdocs in your computer, which is located in your XAMPP folder. Once you open your htdoc, I want you to go to the mmdb, which is the project folder for our tutorial. We need to open the web server first for the CodeIgniter, then we can go further on doing the first tutorial on the roots and controller. So over here, what I want you to do is I want you to right click and choose git bash here as usual. This one, you are going to see the black screen as similar in your command prompt for your window. Over here, I want you to type php spark and serve php spark serve. Just enter and let this black screen to remain as the back end for your project. So don't close it, you can minimize it, don't worry. Now what you need to do is I want you to open your browser. This is your browser. I want you to open the localhost 8080, this one, localhost 8080, and this is the first home page or the first file that you are going to see when you open localhost 8080 in the CodeIgniter. Over here, what it is done by the CodeIgniter engine is that it will go to the roots, and based on the root, it will access the first file, which is the home file. If you want to see further on this one, I want you to open your Sublime tag. In your Sublime tag, I want you to open mmdb. This is our project folder, mmdb. And if you can go further and open the config folder, and in the config folder, you can expand it and you can scroll down until you find file name roots.php, this one. And if you look at roots.php and you can scroll down, in my case, in line 33, you can find that this is the root that have been set up by CodeIgniter for the beginning of the page that will be displayed by the CodeIgniter. If you see over here, what CodeIgniter did is that it will use the get. Get is I forget about the name, but we have something like a get and post, and in CodeIgniter you can also use delete and put. Okay, so get and post is similar thing that you have learned in your concept in your www class. If you see over here, it use the get procedure, this one, and home.index is actually the file where this file is actually your controller. Okay, if you open your controller, go further down and you find a folder named controller, this one, you should find a file named home.php, this one. If you double click this file, you can find that this is the code that's been written inside the home.php. If you look over here, it will return a message. This is the welcome message. The welcome message that you see in your browser, this one, is coming from this file, which is the home.php file. If you don't want this one to appear in your browser, what you can do is that you can type echo, and under echo you can say hello world, and you can make a comment on the return. This is how you make the comment in PHP. Okay, backslash and then asterisk and asterisk and backslash. So if you save this file, the home.php, and you refresh in your CodeIgniter first page, this one, and you are going to see the hello world, which you already write in the home.php echo instruction. For your information, if you go back again to your browser over here, instead of typing localhost 8080, you can also to type something like this. Okay, you can type home, and you can type index, and you are going to get the same output, which is hello world, because home is the file that has been used by the roots. This is the root file. If you look at this URL, localhost 8080 is the root, home is the controller, and index is the method. So for the next tutorial, whenever that I ask you to type or to access your controller, you have to remember that localhost 8080 is the root, home is the controller, and index is the method. Dear student, by now you should be able to identify the URL, where the URL in the CodeIgniter normally it consists of the root, the controller, and the method that's located inside the root. For this one, I want to create a new controller. How should we do it in CodeIgniter? So to do that, I want you to follow all the following steps that I've already prepared for you. First of all, make sure that you open the htdocs and you go to our project folder, which is the mmdb. And as usual, I want you to right click and use git bash here, and you type php spark and serve and press enter, so that we open the web browser in the CodeIgniter. Well, as usual, don't forget to minimize this one and don't close it, and you can go to the browser and type localhost 8080, and you should be able to access the previous file that you have created earlier. But we are not going to look at the previous file, but instead for this tutorial I'm going to show you how to create a new controller. For this one, I want you to open your subline text, and you must make sure that you select the project folder for this class, which is in my case, I want to select the MMDB. For this tutorial, we are going to look at the roots and we are going to look at the controller. If you look at the folder for our config file, you should see that we have a root, and in your controller there are two types of file, which are the base controller and home. For this tutorial, we are going to create a new controller. First of all, I want you to click the home file, this one, and I want you to copy this home and duplicate it and create a new file called try control. I cannot do it in my Sublime Text because this is the free version. So I'm going to open it in my Windows Explorer. Open the apps controller. Can you see the home one, this one file? I want you to copy and paste it in the same folder, and I want you to rename the file to become try control. For your information, when you want to create a file in CI or CodeIgniter, the first letter must start with a capital letter, something like this. Try control. T must be in capital. You cannot use a smaller case, because if you do that, then it's going to have error later on in your programming. Next, open back your Sublime Text, and you should see try control should be available in your controller folder. So click it, this one. I want you to do several adjustments towards this try control. First of all, look at this one, class home extend base controller. This one, since the file name is try control, so you have to change the word home to try control. The file name and the class should be similar, and save your file, and you can type whatever that you have over here. For instance, you delete the hello world and type this is a new controller, and save your file. Next, you open your browser, localhost 8080, and you use this backslash and type try control and press enter. You should see that in your browser a new words will be pop out, which is this is a new controller, where this sentence you have already write it earlier in your Sublime Text in the try control. So what happened over here, this is the root, the localhost 8080. This is the new controller that we have created, and index is the method. Next, we want to create a new construct and we want to use it in our new controller. For information, if you still remember last time when you learned about programming, when you create a construct is actually a variable, and you can call this variable in anywhere in your programming. So we are going to create the construct and we are going to call it in our new controller. So what we need to do in CI is that, first of all, you open your try control, this one, open it in your browser, so you're going to get something like this. Next, I want you to open back your Sublime Text. To create new construct, first of all, you need to click the base controller, because the base controller is where you are going to put all your construct over here. When you open your base controller, scroll down until you find this function, public function init controller, this one. I want you to create new line in your public function init controller, because the construct is something like a variable. In PHP, to create a variable, you must start with $sign and you type this and then the arrow, and let's say I want to create a construct named name. And for the name, I want to put my name over here. So this name and the name is, or the construct will hold a value of my name, which is Nizam. So I'm going to save this one, Control S. And to access the new construct, this one, this is the new construct. Okay, I can save it. And I want to access the new construct in my new controller for this one. So what I can do is that I make an echo, and I can call that I can write my name is, and for this one I can type a $. I can call back the construct, something like this. Okay, so for this one I am calling the construct. Okay, I just save this one. When I open it in my browser, I refresh my browser, so I can see that this is my name, the name Nizam, where the construct is being assigned with this value is going to be displayed in the new controller. So if I want to make sure that my name is printed in a new line, so I can go back to my subline text in the try control. Okay, I just make a new break over here. So I just make a break, I save it, and when I open in my browser, so I'm going to have my name printed in a new line. I can also make a new root so that the root is not only go to the home file, this one, instead it will also go to the try control, which is a new control that I have made. So to do that, what you need to do, first of all, you have to access your root PHP, this one, which is located inside the config folder. To open the root, you browse down until you find this line, roots is equal to get and home and index, this one, which is in my case in line 33. So you can type a new root, create new line, you create a $, you type ROUTES, roots, and roots, you are going to use the get, which is the super global variable, and you are going to use the backslash, and then you can type the comma. You can use similar function as what you can have at the top here, and then you can type try control and double colon index. At the end you should have the semicolon. So what happened over here is that whenever you have a new root for try control, which is your new controller, it will go to the new control, which is try control, and it will execute the index method. So you can save this one. Whenever that you use localhost 8080 try control, and it will go to this one. If you don't type the try control over here, okay, it will go to the home, this one, it will go to the home and execute the index method. But if you type try control, it will go to the try control controller, which you have created it in your controller folder. Now if you look at the roots that available in your subline tag over here, this is the roots.php file. Whenever that the user is accessing the new controller, which is try control, it will go to the index. If you open your browser over here, you are accessing the try control, which is the new control that you have created, then whatever that is located in your try control over here, especially on the index, will be displayed in the browser. If you want to make sure that when the user is opening the try control and it will not executing whatever that you have in the index, then what you need to do is that you have to create a new method in the try control controller. To create a new method in the try control, I want you to copy the index function and paste it below. In the new function, I want it to change to become about. And instead of this new controller, you can type something like this is a new routes to about in try control. And I want the name to be displayed, which is almost similar to the index function. If you want to create a new construct, so you are welcome to do so in the base controller. This one, you can create a new one if you want, but if you don't want, you just let it be as what it is and save your file. And inside the routes, you open the routes.php. You can see that this is the line that you created for the try control. You want the user, everyone, they log in to the try control controller, and instead of displaying the index method, you want it to be displayed the about. So you need to make a new adjustment. First of all, we have to change try control about, and this one, after the backslash, you type try control. What it is mean over here is that whenever the user is accessing the try control controller, so the try control will display about instead of index. Save the file, Ctrl S to save the file, and if you open your browser, localhost try control, you refresh, you will see that instead of displaying whatever that's have in the index, it will display the new method which is about that you have written earlier in your subline tag. What I mean is this one. Okay, it will execute this new function. CodeIgniter, not only that you can create new controller inside the controller folder, you can also have a new folder and you create a new control in that particular new folder, and you can still access it later on. The reason why you need to create a new folder is to make sure that you arrange all your controller in a specific folder so that later on you can access it easily. To do that, we are going to create a new folder inside the controllers, and we are going to access that particular new folder, and inside it, it should have a new controller. So what I mean is that first of all, you open your Explorer. In your Explorer, you create a new folder and name that folder as admin. And I want you to copy your trycontrol.php, copy it and paste it inside the new folder, admin, and rename your new controller to become user admin. And open back your subline tags. In your subline tag, you should see that there is a new folder called admin in the controls folder, and inside the admin folder there is a new controller called user admin. For the user admin, first of all, I want you to delete the about, because this is the duplicate file from the about.php. And as usual, for the class, you have to change the class name to become similar to the name of the file, where in this case is a user admin. And you can type anything that you want over here. For instance, this is a new controller in a new folder, and you can type this is the way to access it, and you save the file. This is a new controller in a new folder, admin. Okay, you can type anything that you want, and this is the way to access it. Save the file, and you can open your browser. Instead of try control, our new controller is located in a folder named admin, and the new control name is user admin. And when you refresh it, you will notice this error. The error happens because several reasons. So we are going to figure out on how to solve this problem. First of all, if you open your Sublime Text Back and you look at the user admin controller, which is the new controller inside the admin folder, you can see that the namespace app controller, and we are not going inside the admin. That's why you need to have a new backslash and add the admin folder over here and save the file. And let's open our browser back and try to refresh, and you are going to still to have error, something like what I have. So to fix the problem, okay, this happen because we do have a base controller inside the admin folder. In this case, you need to add this code use app, okay, and then you can use the backslash controllers backslash and the base controller, and at the end you need to put the semicolon. Use app controllers base controller, meaning that this file we use the base controller which is located inside the app controllers. And save your file and try to refresh it. So actually what you need to do is that you need to adjust the roots in MMDB. Okay, you type roots, the arrow get, okay, over here you said that every time the user has access the new controller, which is the user admin, so what happens that you want the browser to go to the admin folder and accessing the user admin index. Save the file, and once you open your browser, you refresh it, it will display this one. Okay, so this is try controller. When you refresh your browser to user admin slash user admin, then whatever that you written in the new controller user admin will be displayed. This is the index method that you have already set inside the user admin controller, this one.